Scott Wetzel is not for everyone. For instance, sane people who can easily tell right from wrong or strongly urge to change the channel. Doctors Radio declared listening to Scott Wetzel can be hazardous to your health and can cause sickness, strokes, or wanting to take long walks on short piers. Feelings of agitation, dizziness, depression, frustration, and cold sweats are common when listening to Scott. You can have a bad reaction, such as confusion, redness in the face, teeth clenching, fist pounding, wanting to put a fork in your eye, and feeling the need to throw your radio out the window. Listeners have also reported increased swearing, trouble sleeping, and a strong desire to gamble. Truckers and drivers are urged to stay away. Learn from Jack from Arkansas. As for women, don't even think about it.
Oh no, my nipples clearly got erect.
You've been warned. Now, here's your host, Scott Wetzel.
And welcome to the Scott Wetzel Show on a marvelous Monday afternoon right here on FanStreamSports.com. Yours truly, Scott Wetzel, sitting in for the next 2 hours or so as we take a look at the world of sports. You want to send a tweet? It is at Opposite Picks. That is OPPOSITE Picks, P-I-C-K-S. Email me. Go to the website, OppositePicks.com. Hit the contact Scott icon and fire away. Or just go to SWOppositePicks@yahoo.com. Following us on our YouTube channel, The Scott Wetzel Show, then hit that like and subscribe button, and we can converse back and forth over the next 2 hours. A lot to get to today. We say that all the time, but especially so on Mondays and Fridays, where we got to recap all the things that happened in the world of sports. A little NFL recap. Weekend number 2 of the preseason in the books. Browns seeing red over their decision. Raiders season maybe even over before it begins. MLB recap over the weekend. College to the pros. Back to college? Deshaun Watson trashes Browns fans. Cantor's freedom no more. How about a round-robin championship parlay we have to get in with the U.S. Tennis Open beginning today? Don't be sleepless in Seattle. And true or AI, you make the call. We'll get to all those stories again, plus your tweets, little emails, and some YouTube chat as well over the next 2 hours. What's going on, LLs, LWs, loyal listeners, loyal watchers? How are you on this Monday afternoon? Beautiful day here in Long Island. I tell you, I must say, we've had some bad weather throughout the country, especially in the West and everything else. But I tell you, here in the East Coast, on Long Island especially, we had a little, blizzard the other day. Man, what's the big deal? Tornado, but, didn't hit my area, although it was only about a half hour away. But really, for the most part, it's been a pretty good summer. Not too hot, not too cold. Maybe that's why the bugs are just nasty. I don't know why they didn't spray around our house like they normally do every summer. But I must say, after probably 6 o'clock, unfortunately, which is when I'm all set to go outside and do some yard work and stuff. Man, it is just unbearable. It really, with all the bugs, it's just very, very, very weird. But anyway, this afternoon, beautiful day, so hopefully it's nice by you. A lot to get to. We got some football news with the Cleveland Browns deciding who their quarterback will be. No real surprise, I suppose. We got some baseball stuff to get to, including got a little tip on a team that I'm going to pass along to you guys with the Seattle Mariners. I'll tell you what to do with them. And we like to put these in every few weeks or so, a championship round-robin parlay. We take 3 teams from 3 different sports, or at least sides of things, with the U.S. Open, men's or women's, and we put them in a round-robin championship parlay, and we try to hit those. And if so, depending on the 3, it can pay for a $10 bet up to $5,000. So we'll get to that as well. So, like I said, busy Monday. We'll start with a little NFL. Why not? We're 2 weeks now away from opening weekend. We got college football starting this upcoming Saturday. Not a great slate, but we got the NFL, and this week is where, some of the final cuts are made at the end of the week, and then some of the quarterback decisions and other decisions are made. And the Browns, to really no one's surprise, I wouldn't think, whether you agree with it or not, you kind of had to see this thing coming. They choose Deshaun Watson as their starting quarterback. And, that was almost like an afterthought. But then with this weekend and Watson ripping the fans, which we'll hear from here in a second, I thought maybe, just maybe, that would allow Shedeur Sanders or one of the others on the roster to be named a starter. But nope, there's Todd Monken announcing that Deshaun Watson, the most hated guy in is probably the most, if you thought about things, and I did, I don't know of another fan base. There are a lot of guys that are hated, whether it's LeBron James or the Alex Rodriguez of the world, right? But their general fan base likes them. I don't know of another local fan base that actually hates their starting quarterback. Maybe a backup quarterback or a backup player, but is there another fan base that hates the face of the franchise as much as the Cleveland Brown fan hates Deshaun Watson? And what do the Browns do? They name him the starting quarterback today. This after what, about a year or so ago, that the owner, if you remember, Jimmy Haslam, and he's got his own issues off the field, called the Deshaun Watson, experiment decision to make the move and sign him a swing and a miss. I mean, so you got an owner who's basically saying he effed up acquiring this dude, and then less than a year or so later, whatever it is, he's got his head coach announcing that he's the starting quarterback. Rory, the whole thing is weird. The only thing I can guess, and I don't think it would be in this case, I see this in other cases where you have a struggling quarterback, you fire the head coach, you go get a new head coach, right? And 9 times out of 10, the new head coach is going to say what to the owner or GM, whoever's making the hiring decision, right? Oh, your quarterback is good, your starting pitchers are good, your roster is good. I can make a championship team out of this club. It's not the players' fault. I can win with your guys. I can win with your quarterback, especially, right? And that's how they get the job. I mean, what guy interviews, in this case with the Browns, and says, you know what, Deshaun Watson sucks. You are morons for acquiring that guy, and you were bigger idiots for giving him a $250 million contract, right? No guy's going to get the job saying that. He's going to go in there and sell him on, okay, the decision you made was great. Whatever it takes to get the job. Even if I don't believe it, I'm going to say it. And that's maybe that's what Monken did. He's been in the league a long time. This is not a young guy. This is an older guy that's been in the league 20 plus years with the Ravens. The last 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it's been. He's had a whole lot of success. He hasn't gotten a head coaching job. So what do the Cleveland Browns want to hear? They want to hear that their roster is great. So maybe he went in there and told management Watson is the greatest thing in the world, and I'll get him back to his Houston Texans days. So he feels compelled to name him the starting quarterback. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case here because, again, we had the owner last year before they hired Monken saying that Watson sucks and that the whole thing, blew up in their faces and it was a mistake, basically, paraphrasing what he said, right? So I don't know if an incoming head coach would go down that aisle of, yeah, no, you were right all along. He is the good guy. But other than that, I don't know why he would be named him starter because Watson stinks. I mean, even before this year, he was 9-10 in 4 years. Think about that. In 4 years, he played 20 games, barely over a season in 4 years with the Cleveland Browns. Last 2 seasons ended in injury. They still owe him a ton of money, which is why he's on the roster. We've talked about this before, so I won't belabor the point. There's no upside. There's no positive. Realistically, let's say the best case scenario, the Browns go 11-6. Right? They pull a New England Patriots from last year and shock the world, right? Get to the playoffs, win a round, and maybe even 2 rounds. Get to the AFC Championship game. Watson's done. His contract is done. Do you really want to re-sign him to another $40 million plus deal? Maybe you get a little bit of a discount. I don't think so. I really don't. So that's the best case scenario. The normal scenario is he sucks and you blow the season because by the time you put in Shedeur Sanders, for the final, 7, 8, maybe 9 games, you're going to be 1-6, 1-7, 2-5, whatever the case may be. Your season's over. So you pissed away another year. To me, like I said, there's just no upside. There really isn't. And not to mention, the fan base hates him. They gave up a ton. At least the Dolphins, right? And I'm a Dolphin fan. You guys know that. At least the Dolphins finally came to the conclusion that Tua is no longer Tua. And Tua Tags and Deshaun Watson are like 2 peas in a pod. At one time, both looked like they were going to be great quarterbacks. There were a couple of years, literally like 1.5 years, 2 years with the Dolphins that Tua looked like the real deal. I never bought in, but there was a point there where, when Tyreek Hill was doing great and everything else, that they looked like they had their quarterback for the next 10 years or so, right? And then all the concussions kicked in And then the last 2 seasons, he was nothing short of awful. And finally, the Dolphins this year said, that's it. We got to cut bait. Fire the GM, fire the head coach, fire, in essence, the quarterback, and just start new, right? And that's the Deshaun Watson. The Deshaun Watson, it's been a long time since we saw the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, taking his team to the playoffs. He just hasn't been that guy for the last 4 years with the Browns. He just hasn't. Even when he was healthy, and he's been healthy this preseason, and he's looked awful in the preseason. In this last game against the Buffalo Bills, he stunk. They lost 31-7. He's fumbling the football. He throw for 36 yards, in a half worth of play. He gets booed off the field. The whole team really gets booed off the field, and he takes umbrage with that. But the bottom line is, they gave up a ton. 3 first-round picks. Not 1, not 3 first-rounders to the Houston Texans. Then they give up the 5-year, $230 million contract, which makes sense. If you're going to trade a guy, you want to keep the guy, right? So, but he wasn't like a free agent coming up. He had 2 more years, if memory serves me right, on his current contract. They didn't have to do that. They went out of their way. But, okay, they're all in. Then he has the accusations of sexual assault and inappropriate conduct accusations, which I kind of forgot about that. Not that I forgot about that, mind you, but I thought that was when he was a Cleveland Brown. And I was looking it up today. It actually was when he was with the Houston Texans. That's the part I forgot. I could have swore that's actually when he was with the Browns. But no, it was actually when he was with the Texans. They still make the trade. They still give him the $250 million. They still hand him the keys to the franchise, and it's just like, wow. I mean, they were absolutely, positively all in on this dude, right? And then we all know what happened. So if you missed the story this past weekend, which leads into Monken somehow or another naming him the starting quarterback, right? So Watson stinks. The team stinks. Taking out a Buffalo Bills team, they're playing for nothing. Maybe a little inspired with the Ed Oliver story, but his son actually passed away a couple of months ago. Not exactly sure why it came out this weekend. How they buried a kid's, a player's son dying in an awful pool accident, like what happened with Ed Oliver. But somehow or another, that got buried in the news. So maybe they're playing a little inspired because of that. But like I said, they've known that for a couple of months now, even though we did. So anyway, playing a team that's playing for nothing. Cleveland gets destroyed 31-7 at home. They boo Watson and really the whole team. And here was Deshaun. This is what started it all now. Here was Deshaun Watson after the game talking about the fans.
Man, I didn't have no reaction. I think the biggest thing is
he's fixing his earring.
I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows. It has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that. So I think it's a disrespectful thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep whatever I feel with me and my family internally on how I feel about that. And yeah, just move on.
But don't you think, Deshaun, that winning and playing better would eliminate some of that booing?
Great question.
Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles. And that same fan base, they cheered when I got hurt. So does that have to do with, what does that have to do with anything about performance? When a person get hurt, especially for your own city, and they cheer.
Does any of that make you regret coming here?
Another good question.
I don't regret anything in my life. I think the Lord put me through situations for a reason. So I don't regret anything at all. But, I had different thoughts on how it was going to be. But, it is what it is. Sometimes, the tables turn. And I'm patient enough because I'm a child of God to, wait for that time to change. So I'm not tripping on it.
First things first, Deshaun, right? Don't blame the Lord for your issues off the field, right? I may not be the most religious person in the world, but I like to think I'm going to heaven. I've been nice enough over my years. Don't be blaming God because you decided to play hanky-panky or tried to play hanky-panky with the masseuses, right? Don't be blaming God because you decided to, try and get a little bit more action than what you were supposed to be getting, right? That's not God's fault. He didn't put you in that situation. He didn't just out of the blue say, all right, right, Deshaun, you know what? I'm going to stick you in a room with a bunch of women and, I'm going to make you, try and go after them. That was on your own. Take a little accountability there. Don't blame it on. It's like very easy to hide behind the Bible there, isn't it? Right? And you're a God-fearing man. What was where was the God-fearing man when you're in that room there? Right? And whether he was officially charged or not, he ended up paying a lot of money to settle a lot of cases. So where there's smoke, there's fire. So for one, don't be blaming God. Two, don't be going to a podium where you're about to rip the fan base, and you know you're going to as you're fixing your $1 million rings, your earrings. Get them on beforehand or keep them off, for goodness sakes. Otherwise, don't be complaining and bitching and moaning as you're putting $1 million earrings into your ear. And then the last thing, obviously, is of course you're happy. Of course you have no regrets. You're walking to the bank every other Friday with a 7-figure paycheck. No exaggeration. Making $50 million a year, guaranteed money. They can't cut them, or unless they could cut them, but they still owe them. So, what do you care if they boo you or not? And that should have been the last thing he said, should have been the first thing that he reminded himself about going to the press conference, or before he went to the press conference. He should have said, you know what? I'm making $46 million a year this year, whether I play a snap or I start every single game. I am guaranteed almost $50 million. I've been paid $230+ million by this dopey team. So if these idiot fans want to boo me, go ahead. Knock yourself out, because I still got this big fat paycheck. And then that kind of would temper his anger at the Cleveland Browns fan for booing him. God forbid the Cleveland Browns fan should expect a little something for $50 million a year, oh, by the way. And by the way, if you're thinking about, can they cut him, Scott? Because a lot of people suggested that's it. That, after he ripped the fans, there's no point of keeping him on the roster. They don't have to have him on the roster per se, but they can't cut him. I mentioned this, other times. They still owe him $46 million guaranteed money for this upcoming season. Last year of his guaranteed portion of his contract, right? So if they cut him, they would trigger a $127 million cap hit. Can't do that. I mean, that's, the cap is going higher and higher and higher, but to eat $127 million, and I think it's like $60 million. I'll double check here in a second, even if he's on the roster. But $127 million, you would have to just decimate the entire team. And I'd be okay with that. I really would. I said this for the last 2 years. You got to get rid of this stench. If you're a Browns fan, you just want to be, just like with the Dolphins and Tua, you just want to be done. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's 150. I don't care if it's a $200 million cap hit. I really don't. Get rid of everybody you need to get rid of. This way we can hit rock bottom and only go up. And as long as this dude's still on the team, you could go further down. And I would get rid of him. But if you're not going to do that, you could then have him officially on the team, but just tell him to show you're not playing. Forget about it. We're not taking any chances. We're not. I don't care if we got to play, Billy Smith from Topeka High. You're not playing this year. We'll give you your $46 million. We'll let the contract expire. They still owe about $80 million or so from dead cap money that they can spread out over the next 2 seasons, but at least it won't be 127 over 1 year. So they still would have to have some dead cap money, but I would be done with them. I just, that's it. You know what? You're not playing for us. So no big deal. You want to come to practice, you can. You want to, do whatever you want, but you're not playing. That's what I would do. Now, after those idiotic comments from Watson over the weekend, then they went to their head coach, Todd Monken, the bozo today, who announced that this guy is going to be our starting quarterback. And he he defended him.
My reaction was a young man who's worked awfully hard to get back to where he is now. And he wants to, in the worst way, play winning football for the Browns organization and the fans. And it didn't go as we had hoped, or he did, I'm sure. And I think we have to be a little bit careful of judging someone right after going out there to play, feeling like he's put in the work, and then to not perform as well as he would have wanted. And like I said, we all want to be appreciated. And he spoke from the heart. And I don't ever blame someone that speaks from the heart. And then someone would say, well, do you feel like he doesn't have confidence? I don't see that. I don't see that every day. I see a young man that has confidence, and he wanted to perform in the worst way at a high level. I think Deshaun spoke from the heart. None of us ever, we all want to play well as a team and individually. I think he was, there's no question we were all frustrated. Certainly could have coached better, could have played better. All I've seen from him is a player that's worked awfully hard to get back to where he is now and given himself a chance to compete at the highest level. I've been really pleased with how he's worked, how he's approached every day. And listen, we didn't play well enough collectively. And I'm sure that was frustrating for him. And it was for us as well. But like I said, we control that. We control that with how we coach, how we play. And I mean, none of us like to be booed. We all like to be appreciated. I think that's just human.
I don't mind it.
I think he emptied his heart a little bit. And I don't think that says who he is. I see the competitor in him. I see the everyday work he puts in, and he wants to be back. He wants to get back to where he was as best he can.
Of course he does.
And that's hard. And
Almost over.
Again, I think the moment just got him after the game, and it can get all of us. Again, I've been around him 6 months. I've seen him bounce back. Practice days get better every day that we've been out there with our offense. I've just seen it. So I know he's got that in him.
All right. So you get the gist of it there. Listen, a couple things. One, I'll give him credit. Right, I'm not going to be two-faced. We can't all last week and the week before be ripping Stephanie White, head coach of the Indiana Fever, for not defending her players, right? And then this week, rip a head coach for defending his player. So I won't do that. I try and be consistent with our thoughts here. So I'll give him credit. He's the head coach. He's my guy. I'm stuck with him. He likes him so much that he's going to name him his starting quarterback. So I'm not going to bury him and pile on, right? If I know he's going to be our player. So I'll give Monken credit for that. But, then that's where it stops because, of course Watson wants to try. Of course he wants to play. Why, Scott? He's making $46 million a year. He's made $230 million or will make, when everything is said and done. Yeah, but this is also, as I told you, the last year of his contract. He doesn't have any more money guaranteed. It's all done after this year. He's going to be a free agent this season, or the Browns will do something stupid and re-sign him. So if there ever was a year, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, every single sport known to mankind, every single athlete in the last year of his contract does whatever it takes, becomes the nice guy, stays longer for practice, comes earlier for practice, puts in the hard work. Why? Because he knows this season, off season anyway, is going to be, pay up time. He's going to want to get a new contract. You think he wants to stink this year and get a backup contract for maybe $5-6 million, something like that? Or do you think Watson wants to, resurrect time, drink from the fountain of youth, have a great season, and even if it's not with the Cleveland Browns, sign somewhere else for 3 years, maybe $100 million realistically? Yeah, so don't make it out like Watson out of the blue is all of a sudden this Mr. Nice Guy and he's doing all the right things and he's working hard. Of course he is. Where was that 2 years ago? Where was that 3 years ago? Where was that 4 years ago? I know Monken wasn't there, so he couldn't have seen it to begin with, but it's not like this guy is going over the deep end to try so hard. He's trying so hard because this is the last year of his contract. And he wants a new fat deal next season. So I don't doubt he's trying hard. Unless he's just like a complete dog and just wants to end his football career, which is clearly not the case. He's got a family. He's got bills and those paychecks stop coming in. All of a sudden that faucet is turned off. Well, you'd be surprised how that changes people's lives. He's used to having, clearing $30 million a year realistically, right? Out of the $50 million he's grossing. So, yeah, that's why he's trying hard. And, that's why he's coming to practice it. And I don't doubt it. Just like with Tua. I don't think Tua's a bad guy. I don't think Tua's necessarily quit. They all want to go back to where they used to be when they were really good. But That doesn't mean just because you want to doesn't mean you will. Big difference in desire and having it actually get done. There's two levels to being a dog. And then maybe the Watson's not at that absolute lowest level where I'm just taking the money and running all 5 years. All right. But again, you could want something, but that doesn't mean you're going to get it. And that's the case with Watson. If you've seen him play as a Cleveland Brown, and then you watched him, this past weekend, I had the game on. I mean, he's just awful. He's just awful. It makes you wonder, like, how was he ever good? Same thing with Tua. When you see Tua throw, I mean, and he didn't play this weekend, which shows you a little something about the Atlanta Falcons, right? Now they beat the snot out of the Indianapolis Colts, but Tua didn't have to play. So the third and fourth string quarterbacks put 30 plus points on the board, where the two starters, couldn't. But it makes you wonder, like, was there a day when Deshaun Watson was actually good? And I don't know if he was ever really great. He just came in at the right time when the scrambling quarterback was somewhat unique to the NFL, and they were changing all the rules, and you couldn't hit this guy, and you couldn't hit that guy, and he was smart enough to take advantage of that. And I loved him in college. I did. I was a Clemson fan with him. I was rooting for them against Ohio State or Miami or whoever the hell they played, right? I always supported him. One of them is a Dolphin when they were thinking about trading him. There was some buzz about him going back to Miami, but it didn't happen. And really from that point on, as a Cleveland Brown anyway, he's just been nothing, just absolutely nothing. So I would have caught him. I would have taken the 127 million dead cap hit. And I think you would have, you know what? I would have been okay with the owner just coming out and saying, listen, we want him off the team. It's been 4 years. Like I said, the owner came out and said it was a disaster. It was a swing and a miss. So here's the deal, Cleveland Brown fans. If we get rid of him, then we're going to have to get rid of 2 or 3 other guys. But they did. They got rid of Myles Garrett and his fat contract. They could have gotten rid of a couple of more. I think the Browns fan would have at least appreciated that. Fans are pretty smart. And if you tell the fan, listen, we're going to suck. All right. So whatever we do in 2026, it's all based on the future years because we're getting rid of this contract and this guy and we're being done with him. Fire the head coach. We're going to move on. And they didn't do that. They kept him around, and now they're going to name him the starting quarterback. Crazy. Then you get the 49ers owner, Jed York. He's had his own issues off the field, and the whole York family, the whole 49er, DeBartolos, not necessarily York, I should say, but DeBartolos, before him, pleads no contest, spends the night in jail. He's got one more day in jail, arrested for misdemeanor engaging in prostitution charges. Oh, brother. He's in Ohio. That's where he's from over the weekend. And the charge was amended to misdemeanor disorderly conduct after he pled no contest. But it was originally engaging in prostitution. An additional misdemeanor charge of processing criminal tools, whatever the fudge that means, was added on. So he had to pay $2,500 or so in fines, $2,100, $2,200. And then he had to spend a day in jail for each one of the 2 offenses. So one day was served, I guess, when he got arrested, and then one more day in jail. You're the owner of the San Francisco 49ers. The team is worth billions, as every NFL team is, right? Billions and billions. And you're screwing around trying to pick up a hooker? Really? I mean, that is beyond crazy, right? Don't you have people? What does he do? Like walking the streets of Ohio? Somewhere in Ohio, I forget where it was. It's not in the story that I just cut and paste. Are you walking the streets of Cleveland and asking for hookers to have oral sex, to actually have sex? I mean, how are you arrested? Did you walk up to a police officer pretending to be a hooker? I mean, that's where you have your people. Hey, listen, I'm in the mood. Billy Bob, the intern, yeah? Go down the hall there and get me a hooker. Go down the street there and get me a hooker, will you, please? Oh, really? You want blonde, brunette, black, white, big breast, big ass, small ass? What kind do you like there, Mr. Owner? Oh, I don't know. Surprise me, right? That's what you do. You don't go do it yourself. I mean, are you that stupid? You're worth billions of dollars. Oh, that's funny. I mean, it's sad. It really is. And it's just, we all have those moments, But man, walk into any bar, as we always say with these athletes, everything get caught like this. You walk into any bar in Ohio and you tell, hey, listen, I'm the owner of the San Francisco 49ers. Really? Yeah, I'm worth billions. Really? Yeah, I'm in the mood. Who wants to join me back at my hotel? You don't think you'd have a line of broads, waiting for you to walk out of that bar and go with you for free? Or if you want to pay them some, right? I mean, it's like the guy who gets drunk with DWI. It's the same thing. I mean, it's so avoidable. It's so easy to do if you just wanted to do it on your own. It's like like how is that possible? Why would you take that chance? Were you drunk? Were you in a bar and you had to go out in the streets to go get it? That's just wild. Now, that was a player, right? He'd be subject to fines and suspensions. No two ways about it. So is the NFL going to step in and suspend Jed York for half a season? I know this happened before with owners. Who's to say what they're going to do or how much they're going to partake in management decisions? You could say you can't make any decisions, but, ultimately, if Jed York says Billy Bob needs to get cut and we want to keep this guy, they're going to hear him, right? They're going to listen to him. So you could get officially punished by the NFL, I suppose, but it really can't stop you. It's not like a player where you know if he's going to play or a head coach if he's going to coach or not. And, an owner is an owner. But, man, but my maybe Super Bowl champion prediction is already kind of going up in smoke with the owner. I'm worried about the players. Now I got to worry about the management and the ownership of the San Francisco 49ers, for goodness sakes. So, all right, crazy weekend in the NFL. We'll take a break, come back. We'll look at the recap. Dolphins, playing this weekend. Tennessee, Tampa Bay, the Raiders. Ashton Jeanty, may be gone for the rest of the season. Jets, Green Bay, some Baltimore notes as well, including the WNBA. So it's just me today. We'll have some guests later on in the week, including Mark Lawrence on Friday. We got Colby Dant coming up on Wednesday or Thursday. Do some college football with him. But for today, it's you and I. Got a whole lot to get to, including our round-robin championship parlay and a baseball bet that's pretty smart. We'll get into it all when we come back on the other side. Scott Wetzel Show right here on FanStream Sports on a Monday afternoon.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there. Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the JP Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream. FanStreamSports.com.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tom's Town, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tom's Town, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. It is the Scott Wetzel Show right here on a Monday afternoon on FanStreamSports.com, FanStreamSports.com. Send a tweet at Opposite Picks. That's OPPOSITE, Picks, P-I-C-K-S. Email me, go to the website, OppositePicks.com. Hit the contact Scott icon, fire away. Little YouTube chat as well as our good buddy Michael said in. Hey, Scott. Nice and easy there. And our good buddy Tim as well. Was he caught in a trailer park? I don't know about the trailer park with Deshaun Watson, but he was caught doing many things. He did say he was sorry today. You know, he had a press conference after it was announced earlier this morning that he was going to be the starting quarterback. He apologized for the fans, but whatever. Sure. Of course, he's going to be told to say that, right? I mean, I don't think that's legit. Any way possible. I think that's the Cleveland Browns saying, listen, we're going to name you starter, so you best apologize and make an excuse. You were frustrated, whatever the case may be. But
Scott, I think that means Jed York was caught in a trailer park in Ohio.
Oh, Jed York. Okay.
Yeah,
oh, really? Yeah. Is that what it was? In a trailer park? Or was he joking about it?
No, he was in a
trailer park?
Ohio trailer park over the weekend is where he was arrested, yeah.
Wow. So what were the police doing in a trailer? Like, did they set him up? I didn't read the story outside of just the headlines, but,
And it was an undercover officer that he approached.
It was?
Yeah, he got busted during a sting operation, apparently.
See, I don't like that.
Targeted at him or if it was just a generic sting operation, yeah.
But he goes to a trailer park. You're a billionaire. Forget about million. You're a billionaire, and nothing against trailer parks. But, the stereotype of you're going to go to a trailer park to pick up some hooker as you're a billionaire? There's got to be more to this story, Tim. Tim, my producer, speaking there. They're just, you can't be that much of a degenerate. He's got to be bombed out of his mind. I don't know. You're just certain you're driving around Ohio. I know he's from Ohio, so he knows the area, I'm sure, but you're just driving around Ohio and you're going to stop at a trailer park and then you're going to, is there a park there or a trailer in this park that's known? If you don't, trailer parks is like, generally 50 to 100, 150, 200, whatever trailers, right? It's a trailer park. So it's not just one trailer. Is there a trailer in this park that's known in that community as being like a hooker trailer park? I mean, it's just, wow, that's bizarre, right? That's really like there's got to be more to that story. They're just, I just can't believe Jed York, the billionaire, hops in his car. He's horny as hell. And then he goes to this probably known trailer park where you can pick up some hookers, and he decides he's going to pick up a hooker. Really? And I don't like that entrapment stuff. I really, say what you want about it. And listen, it's no big deal. You want to get laid. If we all got arrested because we wanted to get, have some sex, we'd all be in jail, right? So you want to do that, knock yourself out. But I don't like being enticed like that. Who's to say that maybe he was, in this case, it happens to be a trailer park, but if he's in a bar or he's in a different setting and someone approaches him and he's not even thinking about that, maybe he's visiting someone else in his trailer park and some woman is walking around, pretending to be a hooker and entices him. And he's like, yeah, listen, you want to go down on me? Whatever, okay, sure, why not? And then boom, I get arrested when I wasn't even thinking about that. You're enticing me. I don't know the details, but that stuff I don't like. So whenever I hear there was a sting operation, that's just not right. Maybe that's the best way they can go and find these guys, but they don't. We all know that the perp doesn't get penalized when in a normal situation. It's the prostitute that gets arrested, or the prostitute's handler. The pimp that gets really all the guy who's actually looking for sex. He's get out of here. Go ahead, go away. But in this case, they apparently wanted him. So interesting. Over the weekend, a couple of NFL games here, preseason games of note that stand out before we get to Enos Cantor. Dolphins stink. Nothing official. Just they stink. They scored 3 points over the weekend against a New York Giants team. They've scored 10 points now in 2 preseason games. 10. I mean, Malik Willis doesn't play, our starting quarterback. I mean, he's so good, and he's played in so many games over his 3-4 year career. Like 4 of them? That he doesn't need to play in any preseason games. The offense is so good and clicking on all cylinders that we don't need to see him in a preseason game, Scott. Oh, this team is just going to be awful. Just awful. By the way, I did look it up with Deshaun Watson. It's actually worse than what I thought it was. I knew there was some money. He's basically $41 million of cap hit being on the roster versus 127, right? So pretty easy decision. Keep him on the roster. However, next year, when he's not on the roster, the Browns, according to Spotrac, and they're legit, they have all this stuff down packed, he's still going to cost them $86 million on the roster. So you're really not, you're gaining because you're paying him the $40 million, but he's so far into his contract, it's like, listen, you got $127 million left of Deshaun Watson cap money. Take it in 1 year, take it in 2, take it in 3 if you want to. Take it whatever you want. Well, 1, 2, or 3. But that's what you have. So they still have $86 million next season. I would have just, again, knowing that, I thought it was maybe 40 or 50. If it's 86 next year, what am I gaining? $40 million? It's not worth it. He's not worth the aggravation. I would have just taken all $127 million this year and just been done with him and just move on. So they backload. The contract was so good that they gave him that they knew he was going to get suspended. So they backloaded all the money. His first year, I forget how much it was. He was only making about $5 million. So the rest of the $225 million, because they figured he was going to get suspended. So you don't want to have $50 million because you'll be losing $40 million of it because you're going to be suspended for 12, 13 games, right? So they backloaded it. They did the favor for him for them. And with the backloading of the contract, they also backloaded the salary cap. So they moved all this money at the back end of the cap. And while you may be saying, yeah, but eventually you got to pay for it, Scott, right? Yeah, but you don't have to this contract. Grand scheme of things, they figured, all right, we're going to have Deshaun Watson on our team for 10 years. We'll give him a free year in essence. We'll backload the contract. Then year number 5 of this 5-year deal, we'll re-sign him. And any cap money that we still owe him, we'll just push off into that next contract. You could do that. So they didn't anticipate him, being done in 5 years. They figured they had another 5 years after that. And, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years later, then we'll deal with it. When the cap is $500 million, no big deal. But, because he sucks, they got to deal with it now. And that's part of the problem that they created for themselves. So, yeah, they still got another $86 million after this season. Should have got rid of him. You could still get rid of him. I would. But instead, he's going to actually be their starting quarterback. Amazing. So, Dolphins suck. Tennessee stinks. Cam Ward, 8 of 12, 69 yards, fumbles on a scramble. Now, they did win again, Tennessee. Their defense might not be bad. Seattle rested all their starters. Sam Darnold didn't play. So I'm not going to take too much of the fact that Tennessee is 2-0. It's more Cam Ward just looks lost. Just looks lost. The only thing I sent out on Twitter to a Tennessee fan, we said the same thing about Bryce Young after year 1. Man, he just looked completely overmatched, right? Just completely. And then year number 2 seasons ago, he looked okay. Let's put it this way. He looked better. He definitely looked better. And then last year, he helped them go into the playoffs. Now, I'm not sold on Bryce Young by any stretch of the imagination. Let's face it, they got into the postseason with a losing record. So, but at least he didn't look as lost as he did that first year. So maybe Cam Ward does the same thing. But out of the 2 games we've seen him this preseason, man, he looks bad. Looks bad. Tampa Bay beat Kansas City despite a 69-yard field goal from Harrison Butker. Did you see that? 69 yards. Now, preseason kicks don't count for regular season records, but this would have been an NFL record. And it's only a matter of time someone kicks a 70-yarder. It's not really about the distance. There's really 2 things to a 70-plus yard field goal. You want to say 3. 1, the distance. But these guys can kick up 70 yards. That they can. It's really not that. It's the accuracy and it's the risk of, okay, if I don't make a 70-yard field goal, that means I'm giving the opposing team the ball at our own 40-yard line. They're basically in field goal range because you get it from where the kick was. So, a 70-yarder is on the 40-yard line, 60 and then 10 yards deep. So that's who wants to do that? But if the situation arises where it's the end of the first half or at the end of the game, would team rather have a Hail Mary from the opposing team's 50 from midfield, right? Which is what it would be. Then I just as soon try a 70-yard field goal. And at the end of the first half, same thing. You could try a Hail Mary or you could try a 70-yard field goal where it doesn't affect you because it's the last play of the first half. Someone's going to do it. No 2 ways about it. I've seen plenty of kicks from 60-plus, be wide right or wide left, but have the distance. It's not the distance anymore. It's the accuracy, And the only thing I can think of, if it gets to a point where, and I hope they don't do this, but, I'd rather them make the change than have 70-yard field goals. I don't want 70-yard field goals. I'm not a big fan of the punt, mind you, but I don't want to have every team basically get the football in field goal range either. So what you have to do is narrow the goalposts. I don't know the distance now. I'd have to look it up. I'm guessing it's about 25, 30 feet. That would be the only thing. Make it like 5. What is the distance, Scott? Good question. Distance. Let's try Google here. AI. What's the difference between field goal posts?
18 feet, 6 inches.
In the NFL. 18 feet only? Wow.
Yeah.
That's, boy, I thought it'd be like 25, 30. 18 feet. Are we going to make it 15 feet, I guess? Yeah, 18 feet, 6 inches. You're right. 35 feet high above the crossbar and then 10 feet off the ground. So the crossbars are 35 feet high. 18 feet. Wow. That's pretty narrow. I guess you could make it 15. I don't know if that would necessarily stop anybody. And then that would also, make a regular field goal that much higher or harder. And I don't know if they necessarily want to do that either. So I guess we're just going to have to live with 65-yard field goals. And the miss, you can't go really much further back than from where the football was kicked from. I mean, what do you want to say? Make it another 5 yards back from that? That would be kind of weird to do that. So, but we're going to get 70-yard field goals. No 2 ways about it. Ashton Jeanty, is helped off the field in their preseason game, but looks like it's going to be okay. It was an ankle injury. Looked maybe more severe. They thought it was a knee. Everyone goes down on prayers on one knee, but it turns out, but it's typical Raiders, right? When I read about that injury yesterday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, it just reminded me of them in Arizona. When you're bad football teams, as those 2 teams are, you don't take a running back in the first 5 picks. Man, you just don't. I don't care if it's O.J. Simpson and Jim Brown and Walter Payton combined. You just don't do it. These guys nowadays are just too fragile. They're too easily replaced. So fortunately for him, it looks like he's going to be okay. But that's the Raiders. The Raiders had no business picking him. Would they pick him 3rd? I think it was top 5. I know the top 5, 4th or 5th 2 years ago. He might be a good running back, but there's just too many. Those guys are basically a dime a dozen if you know what you're doing. Hate to say it, but it's true. Jets shut out Pittsburgh 17-0. Hey, how about the Jets? He's got 2 more interceptions, which may, sound so what, Scott? But they got 1 last week. You may be saying, well, so what again? Well, they got none all of last year. Only team in NFL history to not have at least 1 interception in a season, which, if you think about it, is just mind-boggling. 17 games. Someone should count up how many passes. It's probably not that hard to figure out. Just look at the defensive stats, I suppose. How many passes is that? 25 to 30 times 17, right? About 500 or so passes. They didn't have 1. And their head coach is a defensive guy in Aaron Glenn. A defensive back, no less. I mean, how embarrassing is that? Like, that's all the stuff that leads to Aaron Glenn maybe being fired this year. The defense was awful. They didn't have any interceptions. He's a defensive guy. He's a defensive back, His hands are on that. We'll give him a pass on the offense sucking, but the defense was so bad. I mean, not one deflected tip, not one backward pass that you thought was going forward or vice versa. Not one Hail Mary that ends up being an interception. Not one quarterback. Nobody threw into double coverage and really shouldn't have. Didn't read the right play. Not one time in 17 games. That is just like, wow. So they got 2. So they have 3 so far in 2 preseason games. We'll see how long that lasts into the regular season. Bo Nix did play a couple series, at least 1 anyway, for the Denver Broncos. Good to see. He's covering from that ankle injury from last year. Remember, he missed the AFC Championship game, so there was some concern whether he'd be ready for the regular season. The fact that he played just a little bit, albeit in a loss to Green Bay, 33-13, is a good sign for Bronco fans. If you want to bet the Denver Broncos and some of those props we gave you with those players, he should be ready, barring some crazy for the start of the regular season. No Kyler Murray from Minnesota. Same thing with Malik Willis with the Dolphins, right? You tell me the Minnesota offense is so set, is so good. He's had so many reps in practice that he doesn't need to play in even a quarter. Forget about a half, not even a quarter. Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell. Your starting quarterback is so set. New guy coming in, knows the offense like that. All right. These teams that don't play their starting quarterbacks just a little, I'm not worried about injury. I'm just not. I'm not saying they're not going to get injured. If they do, they do. I can give you a laundry list of players who get injured in practice. I can. I can give you a laundry list of players who get injured at home before practice, let alone a game. It's fate. You can't protect yourself that much. You just can't. If you're Patrick Mahomes or you're one of these guys that got injured late last year, or Joey B, injury prone, I get it. I'm not saying there aren't some circumstances, but if you're the Kyler Murrays and the Malik Willises of the world, get your ass out there. Right? You just play. And if you go down, you go down. I'd rather have you go down in the preseason versus week 1, 2, or 3 of the regular season when I'm lost and I can't make any changes or preparations. At least you go down in the preseason. I'll go pick up a quarterback that's dropped from waivers, or have my backup be able to play another exhibition game to get prepared for the regular season. I'm not happy if my guy gets hurt, but I can't remember anyway seeing a situation where it's like Aaron Rodgers. All right, Aaron Rodgers doesn't need to play for Pittsburgh. I get that. I don't ever remember thinking of a situation saying, man, what's he doing in there? What's he doing in there? And the guy getting hurt. Can happen anywhere, anytime. Simple as that. So I just assume, like I said, see him. I know you get your reps and everything in practice, but you're also not getting hit. And you're not really under the fire. You're wearing the red jersey. Defenses aren't allowed to hit you. That's what creates all these fights when they end up hitting you. But, for the most part, you're comfortable back there. You don't have to scramble around. It's nice. It's easy. You're not really under the attack of the defensive line. And I don't think you're gaining a whole heck of a lot with that stuff. So I would just as soon see you in the regular preseason. And like I said, if you get clunked over the head a couple times, so be it, right? So be it. All right, we'll take a break. We got to get another break in here, and we'll come back and we'll do the WNBA with Natasha Cloud and Anita Cantor last night. If you didn't see it, we'll show you highlights. He got kicked out of the Indiana Fever Chicago Sky game. And we don't have the solution. Well, we do actually have the solution. But we have the real problem that the WNBA has. You may think you know what it is, but I don't think you do. And we'll tell you what the real problem is with the WNBA. What is a transgender person? Enos Cantor and company will give us the answer to that. Then we got a firing in Major League Baseball with the general manager of a first-place team firing their GM today. Our round-robin championship parlay we got to get to. Hopefully make some winners on that. Cleveland Browns also in the news today because they cut a guy who's now going back to college, which is just nuts. And then how about the football coach who kicked the ball into the player's nuts? Did you see that? Oh, man. He got fired. Is it true or not true? We got another high school true or not true. And then we got to figure out what time it is when we leave you with this. So, lot to get to on a Monday afternoon right here on the Scott Wetzel Show. FanStreamSports.com, FanStreamSports.com. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll have some more YouTube chatter as well. More coming up.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there. Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to FanStreamSports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the J.P. Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. FanStreamSports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream. FanStreamSports.com.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tom's Town, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tom's Town, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out OrionGolf.com.
Let's go.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there. Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the J.P. Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream, fanstreamsports.com.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tom's Town, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tom's Town, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there. Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the J.P. Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream, fanstreamsports.com.
Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka. Named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the link.
All right, welcome back. It is the Scott Wetzel Show right here on a wonderful Monday afternoon. Yours truly sitting in until right around 4 o'clock or so, another hour talking the world of sports. Mentioned a little NFL first hours. We had the Todd Monken announcement that Deshaun Watson will be your Cleveland Browns starting quarterback, at least for the first few games. We'll see about anything else after that. We talked a little bit about Watson and what he was doing over the weekend, ripping the fans in Cleveland, then apologizing today. And then we, ran down some of the other NFL games. How about a little WNBA action to start off hour number 2, right? What would a day go by without a WNBA story, right? So in case you missed it, Indiana Fever taking on the Chicago Sky yesterday afternoon, or actually last night, I guess it was, right? So who shows up but one Enes Kanter, or Enes Freedom, or Enes Kanter Freedom, I guess is officially his name. So he wants to go to a Fever game. He's thinking he's going to be in the WNBA sometime soon. So what ends up happening? He gets himself kicked out of the game.
Basketball game. Chicago staying in it. Natasha Cloud. And right before the break, this was the scene inside Wintrust Arena. After Natasha Cloud got that bucket, she wanted her voice heard. We have talked about the conversations surrounding the W. That is Enes Kanter in the building today. And he has voiced how he's felt about the situation. Natasha Cloud voicing her opinion as well. Kanter was just escorted out.
I give him credit, but I was not watching live. It sounds like they went to a break, came back, and then she said this is what happened during the break. So if that's the case, then I give him credit for actually showing it, right? So he ended up getting kicked out for apparently doing nothing, except, just going back and forth with this dope Natasha Cloud who started it all. It doesn't sound like he did anything to infuriate the situation. So he actually caught it. There was a reporter there, believe it or not. I'll give him credit. Jack Thompson from Fox. He sent it out on his Twitter feed, and he told him exactly what happened.
What happened tonight?
What happened tonight? Good question. So I was literally out there. I mean, I'm a huge fan of basketball, a huge fan of women's basketball, and I was there to watch the game, and I was really excited because I'm a huge fan of the Fevers. And so I was just there to just watch the game. And then first half went amazing. I was having so much fun with my friends and stuff. And then it was towards the end of the third quarter. And Sophie Cunningham shot a three. And I put my hands up to celebrate, right? Literally a couple positions later, Natasha came back and started screaming and yelling and said, "She's not going to sleep with you."
What?
And I was like, I am not trying to sleep with her. I'm just here to protect women and support her.
Why not? The rest of us
And then obviously after that, she started yapping and she started to walk towards me. And literally I just got up and then I was like, I'm just here to protect women and that's all, right? And then she started to yell. She started to use some very heavy language. She started to actually cuss. And I was very shocked that there were a lot of kids and there were a lot of teenagers was at that game. And I just cannot believe that she was just cussing and using those F-bombs in front of all these kids. And that is not, I mean, I'm sure like she's loved in Chicago and many kids and idolizing her and stuff, but that's not a WNBA athlete should react, you know? And then anyway, and then after that, the security guy, came and then I was like, listen, you need to leave. I was like, can you please tell me why do I need to leave? They said, look, you just need to leave. And then they literally, I don't want to say they dragged me, but like they pretty much like pushed me to leave the gym.
Let him away.
And then after that, I had a conversation with the police officers, which I respect a lot. I was like, listen, I was just there to protect women.
This is amazing, right? Because just last week, the WNBA had to come out and apologize for making the people put the jerseys on because they had, pro women, if you want to call it that, with the XY chromosome t-shirts on. Remember that family? And they got, forced to put jerseys on top of that in the Atlanta game, I think it was, right? And then the WNBA a day or two later came out and said, yeah, that's not right. We shouldn't have done that. We're sorry, blah, 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 blah. And then here we are less than a week later, and basically the same thing is happening, even worse. It doesn't sound like, there's two sides to every story, but, it doesn't sound like Kanter was doing anything. This dope Cloud is going back and forth. It wasn't even her shot. I don't know what prompted her after Sophie Cunningham, thing that made her necessarily go crazy for that. But I guess it was just Sophie, and maybe he was a little too loud, and that ticked off Natasha. And he gets kicked out of the game for doing nothing. If you saw the highlight, it was Natasha that was going into the stands, basically. I mean, listen, and then, Cloud also, is the same one that was like cheering when Charlie Kirk got killed, right? And she's the same one that after this game wrote every trans kid / person, you are a part of my community, capital words, M-I, M-Y, letters, and tribe, her words, you're part of my community and tribe. You belong, you're loved, you're seen, you're perfect as you are, and you'll always be protected by me. Well, I mean, if that's the case, Natasha, I'll only take you for your words. Then why aren't you protecting Enes Kanter? Because he's saying he's trans. So if you really buy into all that mumbo jumbo, Natasha, then how come you're not, protecting Enes Kanter's rights then? I don't get that. Why aren't you on his side saying, okay, let's get Kanter into the league. Let's he's transgender, so let's go. Well, he's not really transgender, Scott. You know that. I know that. The whole world knows that. And that, my friend, is the real problem with the WNBA. The problem they have, not necessarily them. The problem they have. Because they're so concerned about being woke And they're so concerned about ticking the weirdo community off that they say, okay, if you're transgender, you're in, no problem. We don't want to exclude anybody. Okay, so let them all in. But you got to be transgender. You got to really be transgender. All right. Little pop quiz, people. What's a transgender person? Well, a person, in the case of this, person that was born a male and identifies as a female. Yeah, but what do you have to do to be transgender? Well, you got to have a sex change. You got to take some chromosomes and hormones and all this other stuff. And biologically, you got to go to the courts and then have your whole name and everything else all changed. Really? Do you need a sex change to be a transgender person? Probably, right? No. How about breast implants, right? I mean, if you're a male, you got to at least have some breast implants to be a transgender person? No. How about your pecker taken away? God forbid, right? I mean, put a vagina in, you got to take one out, put one in, you have to have that to be a transgender person, right? No. All right, how about some chromosome shots? You got to change your chromosomes because we all know there's male chromosomes and there's female chromosomes. So if you think you're a female, you're getting some chromosome shots, right? No. Well, you got to at least legally change your name. You can no longer be Enos Cantor. You got to be Enos Cantor Freedom, or what's the female version of Enos? I don't know. You got to change your name at least, right, to be transgender? No. You don't have to have a sex change? No. You don't have to have breast implants? No. You don't have to have your pecker taken away? No. You don't have to have even chromosomes or anything else along those lines? No. You don't even have to change your name? No. Anybody can be considered transgender, including Enos Cantor and Royce White, by just saying so. That's all it takes. I want to be a female. That's it. I woke up this morning on the wrong side of the bed. All of a sudden, I want to be a pain in the ass. I want to be a female. I don't need chromosome shots. I don't need breast implants. I don't need my pecker taken away. I don't need to go to the courts, change my name. I don't need to change my license. I don't need to do anything. You just wake up and say, I'm transgender. That's the problem the WNBA has. I don't think they ever really looked into this. If any of the SBKQY community ever really looked into being transgender, they'd kick them out. If they had any balls, pardon the pun, they would kick them out because the transgender is a fool. He's a nobody. He's a traitor. He's not a traitor, but he's a phony. He's a phony. I mean, take a stand. At least the people that are gay are taking a stand. Listen, I'm attracted to men. It is what it is. Or I'm attracted to women. It is what it is. Some people have sex changes. Listen, as goofy as that is and as hard as it is for us to understand that, at least they take the stand and say, yep, I'm a man or I'm a woman. But transgender, they don't have to do any of that. Nothing. No name change, no chromosomes, no surgery, nothing. They wake up one morning and say, I'm transgender. Anybody and everybody could do it. And if this dopey league isn't smart enough to realize that, then you're going to get the Enos Cantors of the world and the Royce Youngs of the Royce Whites of the world that are going to say, yeah, I'm a female. I want to play in the WNBA. I mean, even like I said, the SBQKRYZ, whatever community, even they should be against transgender people because they're phonies. You're not transgender. You're a cross-dresser. Well, what's the difference between being a cross-dresser and a transgender person? Nothing. So just listen, I feel bad for the gay person or the person who's a female but really wants to be a man or vice versa. But, that's the life you were given. So if you're just going to wake up one day and say, well, I want to be considered a woman, the WNBA's got to have enough, like I said, pardon the pun, balls to say, well, I'm sorry. That's not enough to get into our league. You want to live that way? Knock yourself out. And every person, no matter what side of the aisle you should all agree upon that. You don't even have to agree if men should be playing in women's sports, but you should be able to agree that you can't wake up one day and just say, I'm a woman without any evidence, without any proof, without anything. You just, I want to be a woman and not have any repercussions because of that. And you're going to allow that person in your league. You're so afraid of ticking off these people that you can't even make a stand. I mean, it's so badly run and it's so easily fixed. Just say, listen, go have a sex change. Go have some chromosomes. Then maybe we'll take a look. But if you're not going to do anything except just say you're a woman, you can say you're a frog, you can say you're a dog, you can say you're a bicycle, you can say whatever the hell you want. But we're not letting you in the league, though. We feel bad for you, but we're not allowing you to compete against females when all you're doing is just saying you're a female. It's stupid. It really is. I mean, the transgender is a fraud. It's just a person that just wants to make a name for himself. That's it. You're a cross-dresser. That's all you are. You want to dress up as a woman. You're not doing anything about it. So again, I'm not making light of it. I'm really not. You got to have some balls to just step up and just say no. You're a female or you're a male in this case. You just are. You want to dress up? You want to go into bars? You want to go pick up guys? You want to go be gay? Okay, do all those things. Knock yourself out. We'll support all that stuff. But you're not going to get in our league. So when they don't take that stand because of whatever reason, you're going to get Enes Kantors and Royce Whites and all the others. You're going to get them. And if you don't have enough guts to just say no to that, the league's going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart because they have so many freaks that are involved with the league. I hate to say it, but it's true. And they want to protect those freaks' rights so much that they can't see between right and wrong. That if, in fact, Cantor goes to court and says, listen, in their bylaws, they say transgender people can play. And I'm transgender. And Wetzel was right. He looked it up. Google it. Transgender is all you do is just say you're a woman. That is it. And that makes you transgender. And you know what? If this dopey league doesn't have rules against that, then I'm in. And I can't, once Cantor comes in and White comes in, I guarantee you there'll be others. And then before long, it'll be a mockery of it, and the league will go belly up. Because no one will go to the games. Because no one will take it seriously. We want to watch guys, we'll go watch the NBA. Simple as that. We'll go watch minor league basketball. I don't know what the ultimate goal is of these guys. I really don't. Is it to change the rules? Is it to actually play? Is it to, basically dismember the WNBA, make it non-existent? Because that's what will happen? Or are they really doing it to make a mockery of the rules so the rules will be changed? I don't, that's where you'd really have to sit down and say to Enes, like, what is your ultimate goal? A year from now, 2 years from now, whatever it is, 2 months from now, who knows? What is the ultimate goal? Why are you doing this? You played in the NBA. It's not because you want your 15 minutes of fame. You made millions of dollars. Maybe not as much as he would like, but he's made his money. What are you getting out of this outside of right now some fame? What do you really want to have happen? Is someone paying you to do this? I don't know. But, yeah, that's the problem the WNBA has. They don't have any guts. They're so afraid. And I understand that that's 90% of their audience and community. Maybe not audience, but their community. I get that. But, don't minimize those people. Those people, they're not idiots, right? I mean, they may have some issues. But, they should be smart enough to realize, okay, Scott's right. You know what? Transgender people, they're frauds. They're frauds. They're not gay. They're not anything except wanting to dress up and be acknowledged as a woman for 15 minutes of the hour. It's crazy. So they kick him out, and know that the WNBA, this is not going away. They're going to have to. It's coming to a head. Pardon the pun. I mean, I don't know if it is or it isn't. No, but you can't continue to kick people out of the stands for doing nothing except wearing a jersey or a T-shirt. I mean, you should be, and really, if you look at the WNBA bylaws, and someone sent this out on Twitter today, it does say that, in this case, Natasha Cloud should be suspended. You're not allowed to interact with people, attack people, throw F-bombs at people. You're not allowed to do that in the WNBA. And she clearly did. So are they going to suspend her? I kind of doubt it. I really do. But this is an issue that's not going away. And the WNBA, to me, they got one option. Well, two. Fold, or just come out and just say, all right, you know what? You're right. Transgender people, you're not women. You're not. You dressing up as a female that does not make you a female. I mean, if you can't say that, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I don't know what to tell you. If you're that blind to this stuff, but Google it. That's all it takes. That's all. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed one day and say you're a woman. That's all it takes. No chromosomes, no surgeries, no name changes, nothing. Just nothing. I mean, crazy. So anyway, baseball. How about Dana Brown, GM of the Houston Astros, fired today? Boy, something's not right. You don't listen. They've been in the business a long time. You don't fire your general manager, a month or so left in the season when your team is in first place, albeit struggling, but still in first place. Now, his contract was going to expire at the end of the year, and no doubt he's probably in that front office saying, I want a new contract. We're in first place. We've been successful, with me being in control. And maybe the team just, kept on pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off. And then finally he just said, listen, I got to know. And the team just said, all right, see you later then. Maybe that's how it went down. But I would think even if that was the case and I'm Dana Brown, there's a decent chance I'm going to lead my team to the playoffs. If I know I'm going to get ousted, at least I'd want to have that on my resume. Yeah, I led my team to the playoffs. I know it wasn't a great record, but we won the division or won a wild card. I would think that would help him getting a new job somewhere else. So something's not right. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's coincidence the last year his contract was this year, but and you generally do negotiations, before your contract expires, and maybe there was a bump on the wall, but I don't know why Houston wouldn't want to re-sign him. So there's got to be more to this story, unless he was just asking for a ton of money, something like that. I don't know, but that seems a little weird. How about the fight yesterday? You're getting one of these a week, right? I mean, here it is: Chicago and New York Mets. White Sox and Mets. No real rivalry there, obviously. And someone's going to get killed. Look at this. Oh, some guy's going to hop down from like 3 steps up. Watch this. Look at that. Oh. Then he gets thrown back. Exactly. I mean, and this goes on and on. And on. This goes a good minute and a half where they're just fighting. They're just like. Now keep in mind, this is upper deck.
Oh, that guy's got handcuffs.
I know, I'm watching.
So that's the main portion of it, but that they all linger there and they all fight. The main thing was that guy jumping down the stairs, and then he got thrown back. I know it's going to happen. Listen, I could see it like it's happening tomorrow. Fight's going to break out. Someone's going to get killed or seriously hurt, either in the fight because someone's beating him up, or he's going to fall over a railing and kill himself. Then there's going to be a lawsuit, right? Deservedly so. The family's going to sue the team and the stadium, saying there wasn't enough security to stop the fight. And I don't know what repercussions will come of that. Maybe more security. There probably should be more security. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar operation, Major League Baseball. I mean, there's no reason not to have a security guy, a police officer, every other row or every other section anyway. But it's only a matter of time. These guys are getting drunk. They're drinking. I'm not saying cut off beer. I know a lot of stadiums do cut it off after like the 6th or 7th inning or so, but I don't even want to do that. You should be able to go to a ballpark for a couple of hours and drink a couple of beers, no big deal, and watch the game without having to, get intoxicated and start fights and create fights. But it's only a matter of time. It really, someone's going to go over those railings. If you've been to ballparks, and I've been to a ton of them, railings are not very big. They come to your waist, and then you look over, it's like there's the drop of 30, 40 feet onto either concrete or more seats. You're not going to survive that. I'm telling you that. You're going to break your neck. And it's only a matter of time. Just only a matter of time. I don't know. Listen, maybe I'm just getting old, but you can't go to the game without, getting that ticked off at somebody. What do I? You're rooting for the Mets if that's the case, right? What do I care? You're rooting for the Mets, so what? What's the big deal? You're getting in my way. You're getting up too often to go to the aisle. Is that what's ticking you off to the point you're going to start a fist fight? Right? I mean, it's going to happen. I'm telling you. Someone's going to get thrown over those railings. He's going to die. There's going to be a lawsuit, and that's going to be the end. I mean, listen, they're never not going to have fans in the stands, but, you may be putting up screens. You may be putting up higher railings. It's going to block your view. Who knows what else they could do to stop this stuff, but they would never not serve beer. They're too big sponsors for that to occur. But it is goofy. I will tell you that. Speaking of baseball, how about we'll do one more here before we take one more break here, Tim. How about the Seattle Mariners? Had a guest on. I won't take credit for this one. Had a guest on over the weekend over at Sports Grid. And just like we gave you the Tampa Bay Devil Dogs last week to bet them to win the World Series at 16-1. So he was suggesting the same thing with the Seattle Mariners. Now, they're 40-1, even better odds to win it all. And why would you take them, you say? Because right now they're playing, not lousy baseball, mediocre baseball at best. And standings-wise, in the AL West, where they're trying to catch the Houston Astros, they're 3 back at 62-69. They're 7 games under 500, right? Wild card race, they're 3 back as well. And they got to overtake Baltimore, Minnesota, Toronto, Cleveland, and Texas. So what's that? 5 teams? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they got to overtake 5 teams. And again, they're 7 games back. So why waste your money, Scott, you say, right? Well, one, that they were, a step away from getting to the World Series last year, and they have basically the same team this year. So you would think somewhere along the line, these guys would start, playing real Seattle Mariners baseball. They are playing a little bit better. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 6-4 their last 10. Not great, but in the AL West, you're gaining. You play 500 baseball, you're gaining ground. The next week, they have series against Philadelphia, at Toronto, at Boston. Oof. That's 9 tough games. 3 at home against Philly, and then 6 on the road, 3 apiece against Toronto and Boston, right? So again, what's the attraction? From that point on, if they can go 4-5, God forbid 5-4, 7-3 even, right? If they could survive that and be 3 games back, we'll say exactly where they are right now, and I think they could do that. Starting September 3rd, they got a 4-game series against the A's. Suck. They got a 3-game series against Texas. Sucks. They got 3 more against the A's. Double suck. They got a 3-game set against the Angels. Suck. They got a 3-game series against Colorado. Sucks. They got a 2-game series against Houston, but at home. And then they got a 4-game series against the Angels again. I mean, they play nothing but last place teams outside of 2 games against Houston, and they're not great. All the other games are against under 500 teams, and in the case of the A's and the Angels and the Rockies, some of the worst teams in baseball, literally. They have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They got 17 games against arguably the 3 worst teams in baseball. Now, if they can't turn things around with that schedule and get into the playoffs, and that's what this is all about, even if it's as a wild card, now you're holding on to a 40-1 ticket. You make the playoffs just like all the other playoff teams are saying. Why not us? Can they not beat the Houston Astros? Certainly they can. Can they not beat the Chicago White Sox or Cleveland Guardians who end up, winning the AL Central? Certainly they can. Can they beat the Tampa Bay Devil Dogs? Yeah, I don't think anyone goes into a series against Tampa Bay, as good as they are, thinking, all right, we can't beat them. The Yankees and the Red Sox would be the two toughest teams. They probably wouldn't have to play both. Any kind of luck, they don't have to play either one. And yeah, I mean, they could get to the World Series and you're holding on to a 40-1 ticket. Would they really beat the Dodgers if they face the Dodgers or the Phillies? Probably not, right? It doesn't matter. You're holding a 40-1 ticket. What do they be? 3-1, 4-1, maybe 5-1 underdogs? As I told you on Friday, you don't get these monster odds in World Series games because the boys in Vegas know anything can happen. So even if it was 5-1, what's the difference? You hedge. You got a 40-1 ticket over here, and all we'll do is lay 5-1 on the Dodgers, we'll say, over here. That's a huge middle. So with that remaining schedule, knowing they're playing a little bit better baseball, 40-1 ticket on the Seattle Mariners, not bad. Really isn't bad. So put that in the back pocket for sure. We already have Tampa Bay at 16-1. I'm going to buy a Mariners 40-1 ticket as well, and we'll follow that, and we'll root that on the rest of the season. How about our round-robin championship parlay, where we take three teams from three different leagues or at least sports, and we put them in championship winning parlays. We will do that next. When we come back, we'll take a break. We got a little bit of more football news with the Cleveland Browns. I want to get to the high school coach who got fired for kicking the football, and a couple of little tidbits as well. So don't go anywhere. Still a lot to get to right here on the Scott Wetzel Show on a Monday afternoon on FanStream Sports.
Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there. Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the J.P. Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream, fanstreamsports.com.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tom's Town, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tom's Town, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, We make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out OrionGolf.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Hey, welcome back. It is the Scott Wetzel Show right here on a Monday afternoon on FanStreamSports.com, FanStreamSports.com. Hit that like button, subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube with the Scott Wetzel Show. Tell your friends and family. 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, right here on FanStream Sports. So a couple of stories here. First up, the high school football coach, before we get to our round-robin championship parlay. Did you see this one? Royal High beating Northern Hills Monroe this past weekend, 62-0. This comes days after their head football coach, Adam Brubaker, was fired for kicking the ball into a player's, well, say what it is, his nuts, right? Did you see this play? I wasn't sure if this was true or not, but here's the situation. That's the coach yelling, boom, right in the nuts, right in the nuts. He was mad that the kid tackled somebody. Like, I wanted to double check to see if he just kicked it in frustration and he happened to kick the kid. But if you watch it from the beginning, no, he was aiming for him. He's yelling and screaming, and yeah, he's yelling at him right there still. So, kid ends up getting, helped off the field, as you see here in a second. Like, the coach is still yelling and screaming, right? He doesn't realize what he did, I guess, at that point. Another coach comes over. He's like looking back at the head coach, saying, "What the hell did you do?" Right? And they helped the kid off the field. So, but I looked at it a couple times, and I wanted to see if it was just an accident because the guy was just kicking the ball out of frustration. But no, he was yelling at that kid. So he was aiming for the kid, but I don't think he aimed for his nutsack. I'll tell you that. So the dude got fired. And I was going to say, is that real or not, right? But I Googled it, and yeah, it's Adam Brubaker, Royal High, which then go on to win that weekend, this past weekend, 62-0. And afterwards, they asked him about it and just said, well, I got fired. It is what it is. It was an accident. He did say it was an accident. I'm not going to destroy evidence. I did what I did, and I'm going to own up to it. Because I guess it was caught not by a fan, but by the team's video cameras. So I guess he could have gotten that, tape and destroyed it. But, there were enough people around that saw what happened. So I give him credit for owning up to it. He kind of made it seem a little nonchalant, like it is what it is. The kid may never have kids for the rest of his life. He may never have kids once he gets married. But at least he's owning up to it. But, man, these coaches are nuts. Some of these coaches, all right, the kid tackled a player who wasn't supposed to be tackled, right? And I'm sure he did do it by accident in that I think he kicked the ball. Did he really aim for the guy? Did he really aim to hit him in the nuts? Probably not. But these coaches are just, I've been on the sidelines enough times, whether it's covering games, and these guys are nuts. It's just me doing the refereeing for AAU basketball. These coaches are bonkers, yelling at like third, fourth grade girls. I won't mention the name of one of them because he helps out with the scheduling, but he's as nuts as the other normal coaches. I'm like, Mike, what are you doing? You're yelling and screaming at these third, fourth grade girls like they're high school kids. It's just bonkers. So we got that one. Now, this one, that one was true. Like I said, I Googled it. Story came up. I'm not sure about this one, though. What do you think? Look at the size of this guy, right? He's got these guys bouncing all over. Look at the moves for this guy who weighs 450 pounds. Pretty good speed, right? Into the end zone. Let's watch this again. I was trying to figure out if it was a run or a pass to start with. I'm guessing a run. But here he is right there. He's coming around the end. There's one guy bounces off of. There's another. There's a third. There's inside that one. Nice move there. There's a fourth one. Nice block there. And that's that. To be that big and to be that mobile, I Googled that one, fat kid scoring touchdown in high school, and something came up, but not that one. I don't think that one was real. I think that one was fake. So, but the first one was real. But that's still pretty funny anyway. Pretty good. Browns waived tight end Daquan Wright today. If he clears waivers, he's going back to college. He's going to go play at LSU. Used to play for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss last year and 2 years ago. He's one of those, 12, 13, 14, whatever it was, players that sued to get the right to get one more year of eligibility since the NCAA said you have 5 years now. Those guys won, and he's one of them. So if he clears waivers and no one picks him up and signs him, he's going to go play for LSU. And I'm sure he's going to make money. He'd probably make more NIL money, in college. I mean, how crazy is that? I mean, we talked about it last week, right? That's what these players can do. That's what the court's allowed. The guys in training, he dressed up for the Browns game this past weekend against the Bills. He was didn't get drafted, signed by the Eagles, and then he was waived, and then the Browns picked him up. Didn't play in the first 2 games, but he actually, dressed for this other game, like I said, this past weekend. I don't know if this situation, which became public, prompted the Browns to cut him. One less headache, but out of all the teams he's got to be on, right, it's got to be the Cleveland Browns. The Browns don't have enough issues of their own. I mean, sports now is just bonkers. We got women, we got men playing in the WNBA. We got college kids playing in the pros, then go back to college. I mean, it's just nuts. It's just crazy. Just crazy. All right, let's make some money. How about a little round robin championship parlay? We've done this with some modest success. We take 3 teams, 3 different leagues, put them in championship parlays. So we're going to start with the WNBA because we got the U.S. Open starting today. We want to use the U.S. Open because all the other sports, it'll take a long time, right? So, and we need 3. So we'll use the WNBA. Their championship is in September, so maybe early October. So let's take Minnesota. I still think they're going to find a way to lose. They always do every single year, but they become overwhelming favorites. They're impossible to beat. I don't know how they're going to lose a best of 7 or best of 5 actually series. They're minus 125. We'll take Las Vegas, our 2-time defending champs. You want to give me them plus 650, which is what they are right now. They're the second choice. I'll take that. You beat Las Vegas in a best of 5, best of 7 like it is now. All right, I'll take my chances. And then I'll grab Indiana. I know the league hates Indiana. I know the officials hate Indiana. I know the opposing teams all hate Indiana. So the chances of this team getting a break come playoff time is probably next to nil. But they're 10-1. They got the best offensive team in basketball in the WNBA, and you want to give me them at 10-1 odds? They took Las Vegas last year, remember, without Caitlin Clark to a 5-game series. So now they got Caitlin Clark this year healthy. You want to give me them at 10-1? Those would be the 3. Minnesota minus 125, Las Vegas plus 650, Indiana plus 10-1. Then we'll use the U.S. Open men's. We don't have Jannik Sinner in the tournament this year. He dropped out last week, right? And I don't think Novak Djokovic, I think his championship days are over. He could probably get to the semifinals. I don't doubt that. But actually win it all, I'd be rooting for him, but we're not going to use him. We'll take Carlos Alcaraz. He's the overwhelming, I shouldn't say overwhelming, but he's the favorite at plus 185. Got to use him. Coming back from his wrist injury, little bit of a concern. If this was normal Carlos Alcaraz, I'd probably just take him and not take anybody else. But that wrist injury scares me a little bit. His first tournament in a couple of months. So I don't want to see him drop out. So let's take Alcaraz, and we'll take Alexander Zverev. He's the one that made the finals of the French, lost in the finals. So I'll take him at plus 350. He's the second choice. And then I'll go with Ben Shelton at plus 950. He's the top American. Like I said, the Joker would be the third choice, but I don't think it's going to happen for him. I really don't. I don't know if Shelton can really break through or not, but he's got the best chance. It is the U.S. Open on U.S. soil. Maybe he gets inspired. Maybe he views this as his best chance to win a major. Maybe Alcaraz drops out. If that's the case, he's got as good a shot as anybody. So Alcaraz, Zverev, and Shelton. And then the third sport, we'll take baseball. We could use women's U.S. Open, but man, women's U.S. Open is so tough. Just like it was at the French and all the other. There's so many that can win. You're really just throwing darts. There's like 10 women that if you told me would win, it'd be like, okay, I believe it. So that's too many. It's not worth it. It really isn't. If you happen to hit it, boy, it's great because you're going to get decent odds, but nah, I'm going to stay away. I'll use baseball where I think you only really have a couple of teams. We'll take the Dodgers at plus 165, which is a pretty good number. I'll take the Phillies at 16-1, not the Braves, not the Milwaukee Brewers, even though I think all those teams, have a chance, especially Milwaukee. But I'll take the Phillies because they got the two big lefties, Sanchez and Luzardo. And the Dodgers, as good as they are only 500 basically against left-handed pitching. They have, as we told you before, what it takes to beat the Dodgers. Not so sure they will or not, but on paper, when you say, all right, what's the kryptonite, for the Dodgers, it's left-handed pitching. So let's throw the Phillies in there at 16-1, and then we'll take the Stankies at plus 850. I think on paper, the Yanks are the best team in the American League. They have the horses, whether it's Rondon or, the other guys in the starting rotation. If they get Stanton back, if they get Judge back, I don't necessarily think they will, but, maybe Judge more than Stanton, but it's a possibility. Bullpen is pretty good. The American League, as we know, sucks. Could put the Red Sox in there, but I don't want to put the black cloud in them. I don't believe in Tampa Bay. So we'll take the Stankies at plus 850, put the black cloud on them. And there you go. So WNBA, Minnesota, Las Vegas, Indiana. Tennis Open, Alcaraz, Zverev, and Shelton. Baseball, Dodgers, Stankies, and Phillies. If all three, now we'll use $10 as a base. There's 27 different combinations when you put them in a round robin parlay, right? So $10 times 27, $270 it'll cost you. That's what we'll use as our base. You could obviously do whatever you want. If all three favorites won, Minnesota minus 125, Alcaraz plus 185, Dodgers plus 165, we'd only win $144. So we'd actually lose about $100. So we need more than that. If all three middle teams win, Las Vegas plus 650, Zverev plus 350, and Stankies plus 850, we win almost $1,400. If all three of the long shots, Indiana 10-1, Shelton 950, Phillies at 16-1, that pays us almost $5,000. So we can win as little as 144, and we can win as much as 4,780. Chances are you get a combination. You might get one favorite, maybe two. So you'll win money. If we hit this, we'll win some money. So it's not bad. I think we got a decent shot. I think we got the WNBA. The only one I'm a little worried with is Golden State. They got a big game tonight against Minnesota, but they've lost to Minnesota 9 straight times. They've never beaten. Nine straight is one of the guys on the YouTube chat wanted to bring up. Yeah, they've lost all. They've only been in the league 2 seasons. So, and they just lost to them last week. So I don't think they would beat Minnesota in a playoff. I really don't. Las Vegas, I could see. Certainly Indiana, I could see. I think we'll definitely get the U.S. Open one. I don't see, like I said, unless Alcaraz skips town, Zverev chokes, and Shelton just doesn't have enough, and maybe the Joker wins, but he's had ample opportunity. I think we'll definitely get that. Baseball might be a little dicey, but I think, the Dodgers to me are probably the most likely favorite to win. So I think we'll, we hit this. I think we'll hit right around $1,500. So $10 round robin, 27 combinations. It costs you $270. So keep your fingers crossed on that one, and hopefully we cash in, and then we'll check that every once in a while. Certainly with the U.S. Open going on, we'll definitely bring that up and hopefully get some winners. As far as our 3 baseball plays, or really 3 plays, we don't really limit it to baseball, but today we will. We'll go 3 baseball games today. I like Tampa Bay. Played them yesterday with the boys on the podcast there as a best bet. against Baltimore. They ended up winning the last game of that series. So they're only minus 126 against a fading Detroit Tigers team, which has now lost, 8 of 9 or 9 of 10. They had a decent run after the trade deadline, but things are falling apart. And Tampa Bay's, maybe the best team in the American League. So getting them at minus 126, I do like that. I will grab the, what was the other one? Cleveland Guardians against the LA Angels. Angels coming back from a long Midwest trip there. So I always like playing against teams. Guardians doing well in Colorado. Minus 158 with maybe their best pitcher, Messick, on the hill against the Angels, who suck. And I know this has got written all over it. It really does. But I'll bite, give me the San Diego Padres, pick them at home against the Pittsburgh Pirates. They got Robbie Ray. I know Ashcroft is on the hill for the Pirates. He's pretty good. He is. But so is Robbie Ray. And the Padres are playing good baseball. The Pirates are not. They're just coming off getting swept by the LA Dodgers. The season is going down the drain. Padres fighting for a playoff spot. They're at home. They got one of their better pitchers on the hill, and it's only Pick'em. Boy, that just got sucker. It really does. It's one of those where if the Pirates win, we're going to say tomorrow, see, I do it, right? But we still end up betting it anyway. You can't help yourself. So give me San Diego. So our 3 plays: San Diego pick 'em against the Pittsburgh Pirates, Tampa Bay minus 126 against the Detroit Tigers, and Cleveland minus 160 or so against the LA Angels. Our 3-pack, and hopefully we go a nice 3-0 on our way to a monster week. So check the tweet board here, or the I always call it the tweet board, but the YouTube chat. We got our good buddy Ron, who I know way back when. Hey, Scott, yesterday I went to see an early showing of the movie Coyote versus Acme. While watching the end credits, I saw that the video playback operator was Scott Wetzel. Do you have another career? No, I do not. That's pretty funny. You wouldn't even see that. I used to do that, Ron. When I graduated college, Southern Illinois, many moons ago, I had a lot of friends in the radio TV business, and I would always look for the credits and see if I would recognize a name or something. But that's funny you did that and you saw my name. So no, that was not me, unfortunately. Our buddy Kevin Kay, when you listen to Munkin, the Cleveland Browns head coach, talk, doesn't he remind you a little bit of the replacement speaking? I'd have to listen to that again. If you're an LL, you know who he's referring to. I'd have to listen to that again, and I'm sure we'll hear from Munkin again. But next time we play him, probably tomorrow, I'll take a listen and see if I recognize the voice and make that suggestion and connection as well. But off the surface, I'd say no, but I'll definitely take a peek at that. Let's see what do we got here as far as any tweets. Nothing crazy, right? A lot of just on the comment on the show, good show, blah blah blah. Yeah, nothing there. Nothing tweets wise. And then I doubt there's any emails, but you never know. Every once in a while we do get some emails. Old commercial. Let's see what this is from Dennis in Pennsylvania. I'll have to take a look at that and maybe play that tomorrow. He sent me a clip of an old commercial. But, Johnny sent me another amusement park story. We get into these amusement park stories about how these people get hurt and everything else, and the lawsuits and some roller coaster theme park that the family died because he was on a ride and his head hit some bars, I guess, and got off the ride and collapsed and basically died right there. I mean, well, you won't catch me on those things. After working at Action Park all those years when I was a kid, won't catch me going on those amusement rides. Some of them I did with my kids, but for the most part, I'll stay away. I'll definitely stay away. So anyway, you don't stay away. Go to the websites, fanstreamsports.com. If you want to listen to some of the old shows that we've done, fanstreamsports.com. They're all listed there. Hope you guys have a good night tonight. I'll be on the text chain for those that are part of that. And probably sending out some tweets as well. We got football this weekend. How about that? Little college football. We'll start our previews probably Thursday, and then we got the NFL the following weekend. So enjoy the rest of your Monday, folks. Be safe, be good, and we'll talk to you tomorrow right here on the Scott Wetzel Show.